Kenny the Boss Cross on the show now will finally be back in action on December the 10th at XFC Young Guns 4 when he meets Jose Martinez in the main event. Kenny, how are you, man?
I am terrific, brother. How are you doing? Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes, I absolutely did. It was just a lot of food and family. How about yourself?
Well, not as much food probably, but very thankful for everybody I have in my life right now. So it was a really good day, and we're in the gym now, feeding off that positive energy and striving to get to the top of this game.
Yes, sir. I know with the weight cut right around the corner, you mentioned you couldn't eat as much food. Were you able to at least enjoy yourself a little bit? Did you have a little bit of maybe something bad during the holiday?
We had I had a sweet potato my girlfriend cooked, and I just if you shape it into a pie, it kind of looks like pumpkin pie. So that was my dessert. It tasted great. I loved it.
Very good, man. Well, again, happy that Thanksgiving was good for you as well. Obviously, we haven't seen you in the cage for a while, and that's because you had a torn Achilles. Tell me, man, what was that rehab like? How good are you feeling now?
The rehab life was long and took a lot of patience, a lot of focus, positivity, great vibes, just hammering on it every day, not having a fight, but being in the gym, making sure that we are crossing all the boxes and getting back to being healthy. Obviously, I went a different route than most people without having surgery. I just put my coach, Chris, put it all in his hands, and he just helped me repattern my Achilles. I feel great. I feel like my leg, it has more muscles. I feel like the tendons grabbing onto more. It's more connected, and my understanding of my body, from a year ago now is times 10. So, I take the positives out of it, and we keep moving forward.
I saw a press release that XFC President Myra Malaki put out, and it said basically, for a lot of athletes, tearing your Achilles is basically the end of the road. It's detrimental to getting back to 100%. Were you nervous at first? Like, did you go through some times where you were kind of in a dark place before you got on that grind and got back to 100%?
The immediate, as soon as it happened, was like, oh shit, I never hurt myself before, and I took 10 weeks off of doing any physical activities. And in that 10 weeks I think is the crucial time where you can let your head play games with you. Luckily for me, I've been so active as a fighter in training that I kind of just took those 10 weeks to relax and sit back and, put it up into God's hands and say, if this is meant to be, it's meant to be. After, I still thought I was going to fight for sure after those 10 weeks, or during those 10 weeks, but afterwards I started to get relaxed, not being a fighter, not training, seeing this world has so many things to offer that I'm not just a fighter. Maybe I will go and I'll venture off into something else like boxing or a whole bunch of different things. And then I felt my Achilles grab onto other muscles, and I was like, fuck all that. It's time to get back in the MMA gym. I'm about to go fight somebody. We're good to go. But for a split second, I started to think, not because of depression or anything, I started to think that there's just more outlets for me to go and spread, joy and love with the world and who I am, maybe not just in a cage. And then I started healing, and I was like, what are you talking about, Kenny? You're a fighter. Go get it done. So
That's good to hear, man. How would you say you feel now prior to the injury? Do you feel as good as you did before, or maybe even better?
yeah, I think I'm in better shape. I have more skills now. I have more patience. I'm a year older, so all the efforts that I put into rehabbing this leg and getting it back to 100% carries over into my everyday life of mental capacity and just being strong-willed and really having a goal at the end of the day. I came back from a torn Achilles, and I'm further along than I was before I tore it. I'm still on a 6-fight win streak. I'm still no one's taken me off my ranks in Tapology. So I'm blessed and happy that I finally get to go step back into the cage.
Now, do you work as well, or are you just training full time now in the MMA game?
So when I went and fought Contender series 2 fights ago, I was working for my my old jujitsu coach, Javier, and laying floors. And he actually, I asked him if I could take like the last 3 weeks off of work to go fight. And he said, yeah. And I never went back to work after that. So once I tore my Achilles, I didn't have a job. You know, I had a little bit of money from the last fight, but I actually just started taking personal clients and teaching boxing classes at Weavers and doing some personal classes here and there. So just to keep me afloat, my family helped greatly. I'm super blessed. But no, the only thing I do is train. That's my job.
That's fantastic, man. Great to hear. I'm glad you mentioned Contender Series because I obviously wanted to talk a little bit about that. Got to go back to August of 2020. You had a unanimous decision victory over Kevin Seiler there. Did you feel that you did enough that you were going to get a contract?
I did. I really thought since he won on the Contender Series before, he was 10-0. I heard there was talks that if he beat me, he was getting his contract. And then, of course, when he pulled out the first time because of COVID, I accepted 2 other opponents. You know, finally the guy misses weight. We carry on with the fight. I'm excited. The doctor then says that his eye is damaged and he can't fight. So watching everybody pull off in their stretch limo, I was supposed to be the main event, yada, yada. I don't get my fight. I go home. You know, I make weight. I go home. And I kind of was thinking like maybe they have me back in a couple months, you know, and I'll fight again. But for now, it's kind of like celebrate, you know, which it was definitely, that's a learning thing for me. It wasn't time to celebrate because they called me back in 4 days and I had to go back and make weight again and fight again. So, you know, coming up with all that, all those obstacles, coming up with a W against an undefeated fighter and beating him at his own game, I would have been like, yeah, look at it. He's got a nice body. He talks a little bit, you know, give this kid a shot. He's young. He does backflips. Like, yeah. And that was the only fight I've not finished. So I just think he didn't do his homework. He didn't watch my fights, but it doesn't matter because I didn't finish the fight. It's an interview. Technically, it's the most intense interview you could ever have is the Dana White Contender Series. You know, I was so stressed out. I got it done, but I didn't get the contract. So it is what it is. You know, you see how you're going to see it, but it was a learning. It's a blessing in disguise. You just got to take it all as blessings and keep moving.
Did you get a chance to talk to Dana at all afterwards? Maybe you have a little one-on-one discussion about your future?
No, I didn't. And, you know, it sucked. I knew right after the fight, he wasn't even in a seat. He was gone. I'm like, because I don't like watching boring fights either. You know, I don't like watching people just roll around and kiss each other's necks the whole time. But at the same time, I wanted that $10,000. So, and I didn't want to lose. And I could feel my gas tank. I knew I'm so in tune with my body. I knew what was going on. And it was time for plan B. So switching it up like that does show the level that I'm at, but also, you know, saying that you're going to knock someone out and then going to a unanimous decision are 2 different things.
You hear a lot of fighters talk about the octagon jitters the first time they compete, whether it's, you know, at Contender Series in the Apex or if it's their official UFC debut. Did you feel that? Like, did it feel any different to you?
It definitely felt different. It was no walkout music. It was, you know, I'm in Vegas. I've never been to Vegas. And I always told myself, like, whenever I do go there, it's going to be just for fighting. So my world was coming full circle and I was just trying to stay in the moment. I walked out with my coaches and my manager, one of my best friends. Everything felt good. Once I got on the canvas, I could feel the grippiness was different. I've never touched a canvas like that. Once I stepped on that bad boy, I was like, I said something to Dana White. I was like, dang, this is nice. And I was like bouncing around. But once you start grappling on that thing, man, oof, it's sandpaper. It was fun when I was standing on it. But once you start wrestling on it, that thing cut me up.
Well, you know, who knows, maybe another win here. You could be right back at Contender Series or maybe even into the UFC. You did have a nice win after Contender Series for XFC, round 2 victory over Jarrell Askew. How pleased were you with that performance? Were you hoping to get him out of there in the first, or were you feeling like, you know what, that's a tough guy, round 2 win is sufficient?
Yeah, winning in the second round was cool. When I went Contender Series, I had 10 wins, 10 first-round finishes, or maybe 9 first-round finishes and 1 in the third round. But I want more cage time. So if they can keep making the fight go further and further. It does me, wonders. If I just go out there and win in 30 seconds, it doesn't really teach me as much as it would if it carries on. So second round was cool. He came from a really good gym, Team Alpha Male. He had some good corners in his corner. He was like 6'3". Normally my 72-inch reach is pretty long, but he had like a 74. I hit him with some hard shots, and man, he just kept coming back. He was talking to me the whole time we were fighting. I could hear his corner. Gerald was talking to my corner. Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. So it definitely seasoned me more as a fighter. It was a great fight. And I love the fact that I'm beating these guys from these top gyms. Siler was a American top team guy. And then I just beat a Team Alpha Male guy. So those are, if you know MMA, those two gyms, and I'm 2-0 right now. So that's cool.
Now, obviously, that was in the XFC lightweight tournament. I know it's got to be pretty discouraging not to have been able to keep winning and get to the finals. So just give me your pick. I know the finale is Kurt Hollabaugh and DeMonte Robinson. Who wins that one and how?
Well, so DeMonte Robinson was supposed to fight me on Contender Series, if you didn't know. That's who missed weight and his eye was all messed up. The doctor pulled him, so we were actually supposed to fight already. But I'm gonna go with Hollabaugh because that's who I was setting my sights on for the tournament. I knew it was gonna be him and I in the end. And that dude's a killer. He just starched like two guys. So, you got to give that guy some credit. I like the Robinson dude as well. He just beat the Canadian dude. That kid was cool too. But I think Hollabaugh just has too much to offer right now for a lot of these guys. He's a seasoned fighter.
Yeah, no doubt about that. How do you like competing for XFC? I've interviewed Myron a handful of times. He's a great guy, and it looks like the promotion is just continuing to evolve. Are you excited to maybe be like one of their mainstays until you take that jump to, I assume, what you want is the UFC?
Yeah, I love fighting for the XFC. They love me. They are very supportive of everything I do and give me the light that I essentially deserve. Main event in where I was born in Grand Rapids. They pay me well. All the faculty, we get along really well. We laugh, we joke during fight night, after the fights, before the fights, when I'm cutting weight, all pissy. Everybody smiles and says, "What's up?" It's a well-run show. They got cool lights, and it's on FS2. It's a nice cage, good venue, and amazing fans. So there's what's not to like, honestly.
You expecting to have a lot of family and friends in attendance come December 10th?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be chaos in there, man. It's gonna be really loud. There's a lot of good fighters on this card who draw a lot of fans. So I'm trying to, hopefully we get like 6,000 people in this place. I know it fits like 7,000 to 8,000. So if we could get, about pack it out. I mean, I love the roar of the crowd and the boos and the hurrahs and everything. So it's been a long year, man. It's been a long year. So I couldn't be more thrilled that everything's finally coming to a head.
So Jose Martinez, he is 12-5, looks like a game opponent. When you look at him, as far as his skill set, what he brings to the cage, stylistically, what kind of a fight are you expecting?
Salt and pepper, like I was saying. It's not gonna be all power shots. He's an endurance fighter. He likes to take a beating and then come up from behind when you think that you're winning, and he turns on that second gear. He's a wild fighter. So, I just got to keep that left hand tucked. Southpaw versus southpaw. My wrestling versus his jujitsu. Cutting corners, hitting angles. Staying light on my feet. It's just going to be an athletic fighter versus a seasoned, strong like juggernaut. A guy that's going to try to like bully you. A guy that he's gonna be in your face trying to take your breath away. So I have to be calm and stick to my guns and do what I'm good at and keep implementing my game plan and, look for that kill. I'm not in there to play around for sure. I'm going to look for that one shot that's going to take him out, but it's going to be calculated. It's going to be precise.
Official prediction. How do you get your hand raised?
I'm going to say KO in round 2.
Okay. All right. I'll follow up on your big win over Gerald and your last fight out. Well, again, Kenny, pleasure talking to you for the first time, man. Kenny Cross meets Jose Martinez in the main event of XFC Young Guns 4 on December the 10th. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, any sponsors, the floor is yours.
You guys can follow me on Instagram, Cross the Boss MMA, Facebook, Kenneth the Boss Cross or Kenneth Cross. And, you know, I have a bunch of sponsors. I'd like to thank everybody. I'll make a separate post later on, but I appreciate everybody's support and love you guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks, December 10th, Grand Rapids at the Deltaplex main event. Tune in, XFC. FS2, if you can't make it, it's going to be fireworks. Thank you for the interview, brother. I appreciate it. And have a good rest of your weekend.